Alright folks, welcome back to Bare Bones Workshop. Today I'm going to be trying to take a piece of walnut and a piece of acrylic and turn it into a pipe to smoke tobacco. First things first, don't let anybody tell you that this is easy, but don't let that persuade you not to do it. That being said, I started off with this piece of blank right here. It's a piece of walnut. I tried to draw kind of what I wanted, the angle of the bowl and the angle of the draft hole. Try to do all that stuff, right? And then I tried to chuck this up into the bandsaw at an angle to try to get that. Thing was walking all over the place. Then I tried using like a Forstner bit to start it, and that didn't work either. This is what I'm using. This is like a 1-inch bowl router bit. This is what I'm using. In the drill press, it was just wobbling all around, wood was shaking, everything like that. So it did make the bowl. I mean, you can see the bowl's there, right there. But what you can't see is how buggered that hole is. My next attempt was to chuck this up in my pen lathe or my mini wood lathe, whatever you want to call it. And I got that chucked up in there. Had to play around a lot with like the speed. Basically because the thing wasn't balanced, right? Because I put a wobbly piece of uneven wood in a lathe and set it on, 5,000 RPMs or whatever, and it just blew all over the place, right? Once I finally got that straight up with this bit right in, did an amazing job. And I was even able to, this one looks like it's actually drilled in straight in. That was just me chucking it in just to see if it would work. So once I got that done, I drilled my draft hole in my second piece. So here's the second piece. I got the bowl drilled in there. Again, this is and this one's actually at an angle, if I remember right. Yeah. So that one actually I got in an angle. So I chucked it up. There, you can see my lines right there. I chucked it up. You could put a small little piece behind it, but with the vise I got that I'll show you guys later, it chucked up just perfectly. So I got that in there. Awesome. Then what I did, took it over to the drill press. Oh, I don't even know what size hole that is, but I did a hole in there. And then I took an 1/8 inch drill bit, and along that line, I drilled right in there. And I lined that. You can see that line on there. That line is supposed to hit the bottom of the bowl. What I ended up doing though, there we go. That was my problem. I was watching the bottom of the bowl and the bit never came through. I didn't mark it, and I was just like, why is this thing not showing up? Did my lines, did everything. I thought I was perfect. I wasn't. So the next time, on the next blank, what I did my drawing again. I taped it off. I taped off the drill bit to just about center of where that hole should be. But I didn't do this one first. I did the draft hole first. So I drilled the draft hole all the way through to where I thought center was going to be. Okay? And then I did the bowl on the lathe. And I turned it, backed it out, looked in there, felt around, like nope, still don't see my draft hole. Went a little bit deeper, and so on and so forth. What you want in the end is for your draft hole to be right at the bottom of the bowl. And as you can see, I actually made one last night, and I got really far. So there, that's what I got done last night. I even started sanding it, and at some point I was like, you know what? I'm curious. I got me some pipe tobacco. I lit it. I was holding it. I was smoking on it. It's like, man, this is really hard to puff on. Really hard to puff on. And what I found out was, as you can see, on whatever piece this, you want to call this mouthpiece, whatever this stem or whatever, my hole is dead center. I ran into the problem, and hopefully you can see that, but my draft hole, all right, so my draft hole is right there. Do you guys see the problem? If my hole is in the center of here, but my draft hole is in the bottom of the tenon, I was having a hard time drawing because my draft hole on the stem was hitting solid wood and having to channel through there. And then, for the keen eye observer that's already seen it, my hand was getting awfully warm right in this section up here. Yep. So I didn't follow my drawing. Did not follow my drawing. So like I said, don't let anybody tell you this is easy, but don't let them persuade you that you can't do it. Because we're going to make one, and we're going to make a damn good one. All we have to do is work at it. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw me a nice straight line through this thing. I'm going to give myself probably 3/4 inch from the bottom, hopefully. Okay, so there we go. Got a nice straight line there. That will be what I'm going to call the draft hole. So I'm using a 1-inch router bit. My square is 1 inch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come off that edge probably good 1/2 or 3/4, I think. Let's go 3/4. Give myself some carving room. And I'm just going to kick this back at an angle. So I just kicked it back at an angle, and I'm not sure if I like that. It's very rough, rudimentary stuff going on there. So I'm going to take that draft hole line, mark it over here on the side. And then I said it was 2 1/4, so I would want 1 1/8 to be center. And there's my center of my draft hole. Here's my 1/8 inch drill bit. I got to figure out to get to the bottom of the bowl, center line, and that's going to go right there. All right, so now I have a draft hole. Now I have the beginning. Now I got to do the bowl. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is, I can't think of what this part is called. Beginner newbie, remember. So I got that, and I said 1 inch cove bit, router bit. So the first thing I got to do, oh, hold on. No, I was going to do it differently. This time. All right, I forgot. I was going to try something different this time. We're going to actually go over to the bandsaw and loosen up some of the weight on this. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to basically color outside the lines. Is I'm going to take out this chunk, I'm going to take out this chunk, maybe leave that chunk there, but then I'm going to come in here and also router up here a little bit, or cut up here a little bit. Just basically take this whole fucking chunk out, and then I can do a little bit more balancing on the lathe. That's the plan. So this is a large blank drilling chuck. So that's what I'm using. And I guess I'm technically using it correctly. I use this straight line and the line that I drew into center for there. So we'll end up bringing the center in with the router bit and working our way in. So what I'm doing is I'm checking to see where that draft hole is at. So right now I'm nowhere close, but still checking it out. Hopefully you guys can see the drill bit there. So that's what we want. We want that to barely kiss that bottom of it, which that is what it's doing. Now while we have this on the chuck like this, we're going to go ahead and try to make this bowl. So I'm going to put you guys back above so you guys can watch.
Layer 2 is drying.
Okay, so that's where I'm sitting right now. It's looking good. So now we got this part. And we got a lot of carving to do. So this is going to be the blank I use. First things first, we're going to okay, so we got a couple different diameters we are going to have to work with. For one, I don't want this bigger than the outside of that copper. And then I have to make a tenon to go inside of there. And then we also have to drill the 1/8 inch hole all the way through. I've been having a hard time at the stores I have finding me a Jacob's chuck with a on that end of the lathe. So the way I did this other one, I thought it was kind of ingenious. Well, I took this 1/8 inch drill bit and ran it through. Piece of tape on there is how deep I have to go, and it's just holding it as steady as I can and getting it as centered as possible. Alright, so as you guys can see, ran that through. I can only hope that it's in the center. So the next thing we're going to do is we got to figure out the depth. So about 10.5, well, .08. we snapped it. Snapped it right there. And I honestly don't know if I can save this or not, but I'm gonna try. Might have to go without the copper. This stuff's not easy, guys. Not easy. That's frustrating. Spent a lot of time on that and then just snap like that. It was my fault. I was trying to force that on there and measure it, and yeah. What I think we might end up doing now is drilling this out and just trying to go straight in there without a copper. We'll have to see how far in, because I mean we're right there on the wall too, so we could be careful with that. Maybe I can end up putting the copper on the blank, on the acrylic, instead of in the wood. So I'll be back in a minute when I think about this, guys. Alright guys, so I really don't think it's as bad as initially I thought. Okay, so I went ahead and put that back on the belt sander, cleaned it up, got it flat again, and then went ahead and did the tenon. So I'm still dead center in there, which is good. What I'm going to do, so I'm still going to use the copper ring. I'm going to fit the copper ring to the acrylic, kind of like so. If this was the one I was going to use, which is not, it's going to go like that. So the tenon will still go into the wood, then the copper, and then from the copper, then we'll get our mouthpiece taken care of. So first thing I'm going to do is get back to the blank and fit the ring, and then cut down the tenon to match how far it needs to go into the bowl. So it's all saved. Let's get back at it. Alright, so where we're sitting, the depth is right to go in there. The diameter is not. I'm not going to put it back on the lathe. What I'm going to do is take this 150 grit, and I'm going to work it by hand. Over and over and over again. It's like right there. Right there. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is get this blank back on the lathe, and I'm going to turn it down to the copper ring. Might do like a little bump out or something here, and then feather it out, and then yeah, sand it down and start making a stem out of it. So let's go. Alright, so I just wanted to polish that up a little bit. I know I'm gonna still sand it down a little bit, but just kind of give myself something to do for a minute to forget about this pipe. As you can see, I kind of drew on it again. So now I'm gonna just go take it over to the belt sander here. Okay, so I did that to kind of give me an idea of where my scratches are that I need to clean up. Kind of wish I could clean up that brass a little bit more. However, looks like there are some pretty good gouges in there for that copper. But that's actually a piece of plumbing for my house, so good repurposing it. Alright, so I'm actually going to use a combination that I use on my cutting boards. It's a combination of beeswax and mineral oil. I'm going to just cake this on here. Try to get it into all these little things here. Okay. This is when the grain really pops. Now, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try actually buffing this on this buffer. Let's see what it comes of it. It's probably going to launch right out of my hands. Alright, folks, I'm gonna wrap up this video by saying one more thing, and I've said it the whole entire time. Just because something's difficult doesn't mean it's fun. Just because it's difficult doesn't mean that you guys can't do it. If I can do it here at Bare Bones Workshop, you guys can do it at home. So I say go for it.